My name is Anne Lucretia Jones, email Dan, and I was born on February the 15th, 1934 in Thibodaux, Louisiana on a Thursday morning about 7:30, 8 o'clock.
I'm Alice. What am I?
Alice Jones Thompson.
Oh, Alice Dudley.
Oh,
I am
definitely.
Alice Dudley Jones Thompson. I was born the same time my twin sister Anne was born.
No, you were 15 minutes later.
I was 15 minutes later, and she almost killed me. Back door had a large porch,
Screen porch.
On this side was the dining room, and then on the other side we had like a living area. We adored the back porch.
And upstairs there were 4 bedrooms, 2 on each side with a bathroom in between. And Mom and Daddy had one bathroom, and Alice and I had the other bedroom. Jimmy and Johnny were across the hall on the other bedroom. And our bedroom and Jimmy and Johnny's bedroom faced the upstairs screen porch. And we loved it because in the summertime we had 2 double beds there, one on our side and one on Jimmy and Johnny's. And you'd wake up in the morning and there were oak trees and camphor trees, do you remember, out in the yard, and big tall trees, and it was just wonderful.
Like a treehouse.
It was like we were in a treehouse. The squirrels would play and the birds would twitter, and we just loved it. But in the wintertime, we slept inside because it was cold. But all summer we'd sleep outside. And he would bring Mama coffee in bed every morning of my life. I remember Daddy doing that.
Oh, that's what I missed. When I got married, I told Troy I want coffee in bed, just like my mama had. And he looked at me and he said, well, my mama brought me orange juice in bed every morning.
I'm sure. Daddy would do that. And if it was in the summertime or, where we didn't have to go to school, we'd jump in Mama's bed and she'd read poetry to us. One was, the one that Mama was so cute because she could accent it too, was, I got a love for Angela, I love Kalani too. I know you married both of them, so what I'm gonna do? Oh, Angela, you pretty girl.
She got her hair so black, so curled,
and teeth so white as anything. And man, she's got a voice to sing. It makes you like your heart will come up and it'll bust. And all the time she sings, her eyes, they smile like Italian skies. And they flirty looks at you. But that is all that she can do. Now Kalani, ain't she not got a song? And she's not quite so big and strong as Angela.
She don't look so beautiful, but she can cook.
I'll
tell
see.
you what'll do good when she's be
Somebody's wife. She work hard, you bet my life. And she never get tired too. But that is all that she can do. Oh my, I wish that Angela was strong for carrying wood, or else Kalani got a song and it looked pretty good. I gotta love Angela, I love Kalani too. I know can marry both of them, so what I gonna do? Minnie Martin, Marion, who was 2 years older than we were, was our very closest friend because Mama and Miss Virginia were best friends. Well, Minnie taught us how to play paper dolls. And Minnie, everything she had, she kept. Her paper dolls were all like she'd have gone with the wind. But she also knew how to play paper dolls. And when we'd go over there, we would draw who was first to draw the characters out of Gone with the Wind. And then you'd make that your family. And you'd drive to somebody else's house. She had a bedroom, and we each had a corner where our houses were. And you would drive on the magazines if I were going to see Alice or going to see Minnie. And we'd talk all afternoon.
They'd have it upstairs and downstairs.
We were the only
Upstairs
people I
would be
knew
the
that
bed.
knew how to play paper dolls like us because Minnie taught. But Alice would make up
I
stories.
would be, they had a bed, and it was in the corner of our house, in the bedroom, up in the front. And my house would be behind the bed.
On Saturday, we were supposed to clean up the upstairs. Well, Alice would make up stories and she'd play. And she would talk out loud sometimes and do the different voices. She'd dance with the door. It was her boyfriend. And then sometimes she would go to the next room and she'd stop. And I had quit working listening to her stories. I'd say, what Alice talk about? And she didn't know I'd be listening to her. Because sometimes she'd be out loud. And sometimes, remember that?
Yeah, she'd say, what did he say? What did he answer?
Yeah, because she would go mute, you know. On Saturday morning we had Let's Pretend.
Couldn't wait.
And it was sponsored by Cream of Wheat. And as soon as we'd hear, oh, cream of wheat is so good to eat, yes, we have it every day. We sing a song and it makes us strong and it makes us shout, hooray! It's good for growing babies and grown-ups too to eat. For all the family's breakfast to share to eat cream of wheat. During the war, Daddy had everything.
Victory God.
We had a pet pig called, we'll tell you about, Alphonse. We had a big pen for him, and Jimmy and Johnny would have to feed him his slop every night.
Lord, Daddy, I can't believe he did that with him. Anyway, we all fell in love with Alphonse.
But he was for the war.
He was a pet.
And he was a war effort to eat.
Yeah, because they didn't have meat in those days. It was so really...
Ration. Everything was ration.
Everything went to the soldiers. But when
We had a cow
time
even way in the
for
back.
Alphonse to be
Slaughtered.
Jimmy and Johnny, none of them. They refused to go out to slaughter the cow.
The pig.
The pig. Daddy had to do it by himself.
Mama cooked a big pork roast.
And here it comes out, nobody.
We all
the pork
cried.
roast.
Even Jimmy
Not a
and Johnny.
drop. Jimmy, no, they didn't. Nobody.
Daddy was so mad because he left, but he didn't eat him either. So we had to give poor Alphonse away. Nobody ate.
He had a camp and it was called Driftwood, but it was a camp that Daddy
brothers
helped to build. All the brothers
helped
and got the camp up and built it.
So they did their share to help
And the
him, but
camp
he
still
owned it.
stands because it was so strong. It had the pilings that went all the way up through to the roof. That's how strong. I mean, all the.
It's lasted every hurricane with
It's still
bigger
there.
and better and more expensive camps left. The Driftwood never did.
It's true.
So every year, the first 3
Leader.
weeks of July, Uncle Doc gave that camp to Daddy for us to stay. Daddy never let us go in the sun. We'd have to go swimming early in the morning, which was wonderful because the fishermen didn't have boats in those days. I mean, they couldn't afford gas and big boats, so they had seines. And they'd have a whole bunch of fishermen, maybe 15 fishermen, and they'd take a big seine and they would go out and they'd bring in the net. And we'd get up early and we'd watch the net, come in with the
Wait
fish.
to get up.
And they'd have
They'd have the little bitty fishes and the little bitty.
and they'd have sharks sometime, and they'd have big fish and trout, shrimp, and it was just wonderful. It was wartime.
It had to be total dark because in those days they knew that the German submarine, were trying to get to the oil tanks that were right there. We had plenty of oil in
The Golden Medal, they were trying to get that.
bins, and they were trying to get that and torpedo it so that we would be lacking in oil. We had great big blimps that would come over all the time.
They
looking
knew
for the submarine.
They knew they were out
knew
there.
They were there.
But we knew we had to be in the camp at night.
One night, we were sleeping, and they had a huge explosion. And what had happened was this German submarine had torpedoed a tanker that was filled with oil.
What about?
One of ours. And it burst into flame, and it was so light that you could read a newspaper from our camp by the light of that burning. And all the men were burned, except 3. They had 3 survivors. They had all the hymns. She was our great-great-grandfather was a Methodist minister, so she knew all the hymns.
And I think her favorite song was In the Garden. I came to the garden alone, while the dew is still on the rose. roses, and the voice I hear falling on my ear, the Son of God discloses. And he walks with me, and he talks with me, and he tells me I am his own. And the joy we share as we tarry there, none other has ever known. Well, I would like, I keep thinking, what's the thread that ran through your life? You know, I know it's because we did have a wonderful mother and daddy, and a wonderful childhood, and wonderful brothers.
And a wonderful time.
Wonderful. We just really...
We were enveloped in love.
We really were. I consider my whole life as beautiful. Now, there was sadness, as in all lives. And looking back on my life with Alice, of course, she is part of my life. And God made us twins. And I think that we had a mother who really knew that it was special that God made us. She cherished that, and she taught us to truly love one another. And Alice is truly my soulmate. And that was...
Mama taught us that we were born under a lucky star, she would say, and we were favored. And she said, we have to remember that we stick together and we take up for one another, and we will always be